Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Chess and Chat, the live stream where I jump onto the chessboard with a person in marketing or in business, and we talk about everything marketing, everything business, and everything entrepreneurship. And today I have the man that you probably most know from his moustache, but he does have a lot more interesting stories than that. And that is Mr. Luke. Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Hey,
Not
really good to be on the stream. And I'm glad you've mentioned the mustache. That's a very important aspect of my personality. In fact, my chess game account is called Magnetic Mustache. So I think that's.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When people ask me who I've got on this week, I've been like, "Oh, Luke Besant," and they're like, "Luke Besant, I recognise the name. Who's that?" And I'm like, "The guy with the mustache," and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I know him." So you've done very good personal branding there with the mustache. Do you want to?
That's it. It's the brand.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to let everyone know who you are and what you do?
Hey, sure. So my name is Luke Besant, as Joe said, and I work. In fact, I'm a founder of a company called Magnetic Campus, who are a specialist performance marketing specialist in performance marketing for the education sector. So that's my sort of current thing, and I sort of do a lot of consultancy work and stuff like that as well. So it's a bit of solopreneurship, I think the word is for it these days.
Very nice. Right. I have just sent you a link. Oh, you're in. Perfect.
I'm in
Right. I'm going to
already.
bring up the chessboard for everyone then. So the way that we do it is gives us random. So Luke is going to be playing on white, which is at the top of everyone's screen, and I'll be playing in black. And Luke has let me know that he is very good at chess. So this should be fun because I'm probably going to get
Don't put me on the
trounced.
spot.
But I'll put that out just because if you lose, then that makes me very good at chess. So.
It makes you look incredible. Look, I'm going to have to so that we don't forfeit the game, I'm going to have to move within the first 30 seconds. So if I make my first move,
yeah, go for it. Great. A move that I already don't know how to deal with. Even better. So to start the conversation then, how did you get into marketing in the educational space? That's a bit of a niche industry, one that marketers don't generally find themselves in. So how did you get in that space?
So back in 2018, a now very good friend of mine, Richie, put out a bit of a call to arms in Marketing Week. In terms of looking to build a education company in the marketing space. That is to say, we would educate marketers and promote the career in marketing as a possibility to people. I was sort of founded on a few different insights, particularly insights to do with the esteem of marketing being quite low, the socioeconomic diversity of marketing as a profession being quite low. It's very London-centric, our industry and stuff like that. And I just thought this seems like a very worthy cause. And as somebody who came into marketing via sort of unconventional means, I started doing that. I started working with Richie and started educating marketers, as it were. And at the same time, I was working with an agency and we were doing a project on an educational brand. And I was doing particularly well at it. And I thought, you know what? I think that I can do both. I think I can educate marketers and market educators, as it were. And that's how it started.
Very nice. And just say afternoon to Santanu, who has come in to watch a bit of chess. I'm going to take your pawn there, cheeky one. And so, what type of establishments are you working with now then? When you say education, are we talking purely schools and colleges and universities, or is it also in the realms of like the new sort of wave of online courses and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's educational companies, but it's also ed tech companies, as you say. So people who provide the platforms for education, or people who provide on-demand courses and things like that. I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of brands in different international territories in the last sort of 12 months to sort of 24 months. I've been doing this particular company, as it were, and they all have very unique challenges, is one of the things that I will say about the education sector. I don't think that there are many spaces that have, the exact same challenge, as it were.
Okay. And this is going to be off topic for marketing, I know, but what do you, with the sort of rise of self-teaching and these online courses, and the YouTube, the amount of value you can get from places like YouTube. How do you see that affecting the traditional education system? Do you think there's going to be a decline of people that go into university, or do you think university is just going to change, or how do you think that's going to affect the world?
I've sort of said this before, and it's a very pretentious term, but I see myself as an autodidact, right? Somebody who is predominantly self-taught. And I think that part of being that way sort of allows you to see the world through the lens, or sort of gives you the false assumption that the world is entirely within its own ability to teach oneself everything, I don't think that's necessarily the case. But that being said, I think that the current crop of marketers in particular are heavily self-taught. And I think sometimes we get in our own heads about what would I do or whatever, but it's not necessarily cross-sector that you can self-teach everything. It's also not preferable in most sectors, especially regulated sectors, that you would self-teach, So there are a lot of fields of inquiry in which I can see, yes, the autodidacticism, especially learning with AI assistants, things like that, can be very useful. But I feel that there's still a necessity for the institutions that exist. I would like an orthodontist who had gone to medical school or whatever it might be.
That is true. That is true. I think there's always going to be, even any evolution of self-teaching, there's always going to have to be those kinds of jobs where there's no real way to do it other than to go through an institution and get the correct practice and stuff like that. So that is a good point. And then, so before you went on this education journey, how did you get into marketing then? Because as you said, you're I forgot the word, autodidact, whatever that word is. So where was your first step into the marketing world?
Well, I came into marketing through, and this is a common story, by the way, across the entirety of the profession of marketing, is that people tend to get into marketing through very unconventional means. It's very uncommon that somebody would necessarily do, I don't know, media studies or marketing at university and then go on to be a marketer, relative to the number of people who get into it via some tangential creative path. And I'm no exception there. I got into marketing through, I was in bands and things, and I got particularly good with, or particularly slick with, MySpace and certain sites like that. And really, I started in marketing because I was very good at MySpace. I learned a little bit of coding through MySpace. I learned how to, get my band seen, get our band heard, that kind of thing. And similarly with Facebook, as that began to become a thing. And so I sort of became a social media coordinator before it was cool, man. And I suppose one of the big turning points for me was, it got to a point where certain people were coming to me and going, "How do you do this?" And I sort of said, "Well, give me a couple $100 and I'll tell you." How do you make something popular on MySpace and so forward? Fast forward some time when the sort of bands came to an end and I was sort of moving on with what I wanted to do professionally. I was like, well, I was working week on, week off on a ship so that I could sort of tour on the week off and play shows on the week off with my band and whatnot. And I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Because I don't just want to be this guy who works on a ship kind of thing. That's not to say there's anything wrong with it, but it just wasn't the thing that I was anticipating for myself, as it were. And that's actually a really good move, Joe. And so I sort of went, well, what can I do? And I thought, well, marketing didn't really seem like a career path that existed in my mind for some reason at that particular time. It seemed something that was a little bit inaccessible, mostly, again, because of that London centricity. So I was like, you know what? There's lots of local radio stations. I'm quite good at audio engineering. I'm going to get into those spaces. And when I started doing audio engineering as like an intern and all that kind of stuff, I slowly became a producer of shows. So I was sort of making up the content for what the hosts were going to talk about on the show and things like that. I thought, this is almost the same thing as the content we were doing for the band and stuff. How do I sort of translate this into a career path? And sorry, I tell you what, Joe, it ain't half difficult having a conversation while doing it.
Everyone always, every guest I've had so far has been like, we're like, yeah, I can do that. And then they start and they're like, wow, this is actually quite hard.
But then we started bringing in, sponsors for the show and stuff. And I started curating stuff, particularly around sponsors and all kinds of stuff. And I just thought, oh, there's this whole world here that I can sort of explore and get into. I suppose that was sort of my first major into the industry. A couple of years later, my very good friend who I was working with on these radio shows passed away in a very abrupt way. And I just thought, oh, man, I can't do this like the radio stuff anymore. And a friend of mine who we'd been recording some stuff with was like, let's record it at your house. Like he had a segment. He was like, let's record it at your house. I'd be like, I don't know about that. Seems a bit odd, but I did have the audio equipment and whatnot. So it sort of happened.
Sorry, I'm just thinking a lot.
That was your movie. I was just saying, have you moved?
You put me in a difficult position here.
It sort of happened, and I became very fortunate in that I was one of the UK's first professional. Like, it was like my full-time job was as a podcaster on the back of that. I mean, I skipped a couple of, like a year there basically, but I sort of became a professional podcaster on the back of that, which sort of taught me about like, I have to make this business run independently. There's only like 3 of us who got involved with the podcast, so that's sort of how I got into the business side of things, and then getting sponsors for that and sort of understanding how that worked. And the show itself was about technology, and the technology sector is absolutely ripe with marketers. So I sort of had an even footing with the marketing world. And that's sort of how I ended up then going into social media coordination for a sort of corporate job and all that kind of stuff. And eventually that's sort of how I got into marketing. Sorry, I overly labored it because, again, I'm thinking about the game while talking.
It's fine. Dylan's coming in as well saying, oh no, the king is lost. You put me in a very tricky position there, so I'm glad that you just kept talking so I had time to actually think about it. I think it's a really interesting talking point that most marketers don't actually go down the traditional route of, go get your A-levels, go to university, get a career. Because I was the exact same situation. It was me and Carl that some people may know. We had done marketing for, I think I might have saved my queen. I'm fine with that. Me and Carl had decided that we wanted to do something on our own. We've done a few different businesses before that, and we'd both done marketing for different companies. And we decided, okay, well, let's just see if people want what we can do, and we put it out and started that way, which we didn't do any formal education to get a degree or a certification for marketing. So it is quite an interesting point that is the norm to a degree.
I think again, because you can't stumble into, again, I use the example of orthodontistry, but you can't just stumble into those professions. Whereas marketing is something you can kind of stumble into and sort of get by and do quite well in before getting that formalized side of education. For me, I did particularly badly in school. I don't mind admitting that. And I think that having done particularly badly in school, but then having done, in my mind, at least, but by my standards, I thought I did very well in music and promotion of music and all this kind of stuff. And it sort of gave me a bit of hope. And it gave me a prospective career that felt like it was a creative choice, as well as being stimulating. It's a stimulating thing, and I didn't have to go to university for it. Eventually, I got this master's degree a couple of years ago. I home studied a master's degree, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it actually added to my cachet as a marketer at all, but I know that this piece of paper is worth a lot to some people. So I didn't really think that the formal education side of things mattered too much, but I do understand, as a marketer, that in some people's eyes, this is a necessary component of proving that you're, I don't know what the word is for it, but proving that you're a credible person or something like that. So I did go and get that formal education. I do believe that formal education is highly important within both marketing and these other sectors. But again, you can get into marketing in quite an autodidactic capacity. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess now, if you're saying that most people are getting it into it through these creative parts, that actually getting that certificate and getting whatever letters you get along with that at the end of your name on LinkedIn is a way to stand out. Like it does give you some credibility. People can trust that you know what you're doing, whereas really anyone can just set up a LinkedIn profile, say they're a social media guru, and then start charging 300, 500 quid to do really basic stuff.
Yeah, Joe, can I just cut you off for 1 second there? Check.
Oh no, I've lost it. This is not going well for me at all. What can I do? I don't know. Well, there's nothing I can. I can only move my king. Then you're going to take my rook.
Hey, man, don't make me that predictable. Maybe I won't.
Well, maybe if you don't, then you'll just be.
I'm the wild card.
Where do I want to put him? Let's slap him there. There you go.
Oh,
this is not going well for me. You've got a bishop and a rook already. I didn't even see that as well.
I'm sorry, Joe. It would be a major blunder at this point if I didn't take out that rook.
Yeah, you'd be. That's fine. Your little horse can sit in the corner for a while. God.
It would be a rookie mistake if you would. Oh no, I've started.
That shouldn't have made me laugh that much, but it did. Right. How can I win this?
How can you win this?
Yeah. There you go.
Do you want me to tell you?
I have to take the horse, don't I? That's how you win. I'm pretty sure.
That's it. Yeah. You take the you take the knights and you're basically done.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh dear, that's so predictable coming in from Santander there. Yeah, this didn't go well for me at all, is it? Oh, I sort of saw this coming. I thought this morning when I got to my computer and was like, well, I need to get on with work. I was like, I could just practice chess all morning, but I thought I actually have some work to do. But I definitely should have practiced some more. This is not good. Not good. So you're gonna be able to take that for free. Is there anything I could do to stop that? No. What about?
I think you've got one.
I can delay it for a bit. I don't know if that's actually.
Yeah, you got one good. Maybe. Yeah, you got one pretty good move there. I think. I don't think there's anything else that's quite logical. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what move you mean, but I'm going to do that one for now. I don't know if that's what you meant or not, but
that's not the one I meant. But you...
Oh, I know what you. That works. I think I might have seen the move you're on about, but at least I delayed you for one move.
Do you think?
Potentially.
Wait,
have you got check? No, you haven't got checkmate.
No, I have.
Oh, I didn't even think about that blooming thing. So if you take that, I can't go there. I can't go there. I can't. I could go back up there.
You got some pretty good moves there, I'll be honest.
I'd do that. I'm not sure if that is the best move, but it will do. It will do. This is a much more tense game than I'm used to. So there's probably not going to be much marketing talk for the rest of this game.
I don't know if I have anything really good here. Just looking at the board. Shall we try and make some sort of parallels between the game of chess and the game of marketing?
Yeah,
you know, marketing is a lot like chess. You've got to think in advance and always be 2 moves ahead and stick to a strategy and not just move at random, but actually have a plan and all this kind of stuff.
Is that what you're doing here? I'm just moving around.
I'm just running for my life.
I'm just making things up as I go along. Oh no! That is very bad for me. So if I move there, you'll just move there, and then that is checkmate. So, but I think it's over, because even if I block you just take that, and it's the same situation.
There's some good moves here for you, Joe, actually. Yeah, there are.
I cannot see one. I can't move any of these. Well, all I can do is move that there, that there. I don't know if you can even see my screen. Or that there.
Oh, what's that? How'd you do that?
Oh, if you hold right click and drag, you can put arrows on the board.
You can sort of map out where you might be.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
So so the stream, I think they're the only moves I have. Unless I've missed something.
No, those are the major moves.
But none of them help my situation. I'll go down fighting anyway. Good.
I feel like you dropped that at random wherever it was.
I was like, it doesn't really matter which one at this point.
Okay. I feel like
I don't know why you're thinking so much.
Yeah, I feel like there's a trap, but there's not, right? It's
I just move that, and then I move that, and then
I still a move away, aren't I?
Oh, have you not?
So if I was to move,
you got 2 moves you could do, to be fair, for checkmate, I think.
Yeah. I think just on points, I might go that.
Damn it. I think that's the quickest loss I've had, so congratulations.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah, that went badly for me as soon as you trapped my queen over the right side of the board. I was screwed from there, really.
See, I can play in a couple of ways, and I've never really managed to put the two together, and I really play it according to the opponent. But like, there's 2 ways I like to play chess, and like I sort of call them proactive and reactive. And the proactive one is where you set up a series of traps and allow the person to try and attack and then take them out systematically. And I was kind of playing a more reactive game there, where I was, or sorry, the opposite. I was playing a more proactive game there, where I was kind of going straight for you and not really laying down any foundation, as it were.
Well, it worked. Either way. Well, I'm going to send you another link.
I said this to Joe before the stream started, for the purposes of anybody on the chat. I came here for the chess. The chat is incidental for me.
Definitely. I'll send you another link. Let's do another one. Probably it'll be another quick one, but we'll see.
We can play slower.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That was good for me. Right, let me bring the board back up for everyone. Okay, so what am I doing? I almost did the wrong thing straight off the bat there. So let's talk about business and marketing again. So you mentioned in your intro that you're a solopreneur, as the cool kids call it now. What's the thought process behind that versus like the typical agency with employees and all of that kind of jazz? Is there a reason that you've picked to not go down that way yet? Are you building towards that situation, or?
I think, if I'm going to be honest with myself, the reason
it's also it's about to abort as well, if you can do a move.
Oh damn! I'm sorry, Joe. I think if I'm honest with myself, the reason I haven't yet is probably just down to my own feeling of like, I don't know if I'm a good enough leader in that particular context to be taking people on in that kind of way just yet. Now, I don't think that it's like, oh, it's never going to happen or whatever. I'm never going to be that person. But, I'm still young, and I feel like it would be a huge burden of responsibility to take other people on. And I've had those conversations with people, maybe I should take someone on, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. But I feel like I'm just not there yet as a person, which I feel is perhaps an emotionally or like at least more mature than I give myself credit for in terms of like what it is that I should do. Oh my goodness, what the hell? Okay, so if we open the game up like if we open the game up like this, I think this is probably, there you go. This is probably the preferable way to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I because I'm in a similar situation. I don't have any employees yet, and I also don't really know if that's the direction I'm going. But the way I did a LinkedIn post on Friday actually talking about that I like the flexibility of life that you have
Mm.
when you're a solopreneur, when you're doing it the way, because I assume you're in the same situation with me where you do work with freelancers and you do work with other people to achieve the goal, but they're not employees and they're not like, you don't have to have an office space and have people rely on you in that way. And I know that you travel quite a lot as well, and you go places. With you were talking the other day about just being, I forgot where you were, and you just randomly ran a marathon and stuff like that. Whereas you wouldn't. Where I feel when you have employees and you have a bigger operation, it's harder to have the flexibility to be like, oh, screw it, should I just go here for the weekend, or should we just do this instead? Because you think, oh, I've got to be in the office tomorrow, I've got to do this tomorrow, and you've got responsibility. So I think it's quite a common way now that people are building businesses, is the solopreneur way.
It certainly is within the marketing space. Yeah.
Obviously, you can't do that as a restaurant or anything like that.
Again, always just come back to, in my mind, the opposite to marketer is orthodontist. So
yeah.
So again, I don't think you would do that necessarily if you were in that space. But for me, I do enjoy that little bit of flexibility. And like you say, I'm glad you mentioned my marathon there. Actually, it's a good bit of remembering that. I'm a very keen runner and things like that. Like you said, when I was in Belgium, for the purposes of anybody watching back on this stream, I was over in the Netherlands. I woke up one morning and I was like, as a marketer, I could call myself an international marathon runner if I run a marathon right now. So I woke up and I ran a marathon, and not only did I do it in the sort of, oh, this is international, I ran it across the Belgian border, so from the Netherlands to Belgium and back, kind of thing. So it's a double international marathon runner.
Yeah, definitely. And but yeah, I don't know the context of that, but I feel like when you have like a proper big business operation, like stuff like that can't just happen. Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, there could be someone who's got a bigger operation than us that says, yeah, you know, you're wrong. I do stuff like that all the time. And I'm sure once you get to a certain size, it changes because you've got your senior management and you've got everything sorted for the operation to run pretty much without you.
I think there's also a thing of like, being on your own is actually very, very difficult. It's a very different challenge to having somebody to regularly collaborate with and speak through your ideas with. And, you know, I've got people in my life that I'm quite fortunate I can just, you know, pick up a call and say, what do you think of this? What do you think I should do about this? And all this kind of thing. And I can be very honest with people as well. That there's people that I know that I'm just like, I will open up my, you know, financials and say, what do you reckon? You know, and in that way, I feel like I get a lot of collaboration in terms of the work that I do, you know, with the clients I've got and with the people that I work with who are other, you know, freelancers or whatever it might be. But I'm also quite fortunate in that I've got some contacts that I can just sort of call. I know that's something you're quite proactive on, in that you work with, what are they called again? Kent.
I don't know which one you're talking about. Invicta Chamber of Commerce?
No, you
Kent
were
Foundation?
Kent Foundation, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and they provide some great mentorship opportunities, don't they?
Indeed. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm plugging for you now.
Peter just coming in and saying missed it all so far. Yeah, just don't watch anything before this, Peter. Actually, there's nothing. There's no worth of watching anything before this. And just in case anyone says anything, I definitely won the first game.
Oh yeah, you smashed that last game. I was crying on the floor.
It was terrible. Yeah, but don't go Don't go watch it, Peter. It's fine. Just watch from now. Maybe I'll win this one as well. Who knows? But to give you a bit of time to think about this move as well. So the Kent Foundation, if you're based in Kent and you're the age of 30 or under, they give you mentoring. And I think one of the big things when you are a solopreneur and you don't have a team, you don't have all this, can be loneliness or a lack of collaboration. So getting into a community, getting some mentorship, getting just friends that you can open up to is definitely important, because it can be quite a lonely road if you don't do any of that. Okay.
I think that's one of the things that I'm most proud of, having worked with School of Marketing, where we built up this program. I think that the name is changing now that I'm sort of away from it, but it was called Mentoring Gen Z, and it was an opportunity for marketers to meet senior marketers from all across the world, and I'm talking serious, hard hitting career marketers. And I feel like that's one of our, at School of Marketing, that's the legacy, that's the proudest achievement that I feel like I have in my career, is being able to contribute to that and build that up, because I'm quite a sentimental person, and I really do care about the impact on others. And I think a lot of people in marketing tend to be quite open, sort of, I think psychologists call it like trait openness. I think people can be quite what's the word for it? Is it left-brained? That kind of thing in the world of marketing. And I'm certainly no exception to that. I'm a very sentimental person. And I feel like the mentoring thing is something that, we came up with it as a way to sort of promote the thing that we were doing. But ultimately, I feel like we did something that was so much bigger than ourselves and created something that was so important to so many people in terms of their careers and stuff. I'm incredibly proud of that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I think a lot of, from what I see, and maybe I'm making generalizations based on what I see on social media and on YouTube, quite a lot of people talk about marketing agencies as like a quick way to make money. Whereas anyone who's actually in the agency or the marketing life knows that's not the truth at all, to a degree. But I think you talk about legacy and stuff like that. I think that's actually what gives you more fulfillment in life as well. Like, making money. Okay, cool, but does it actually matter when
I don't want to underestimate it, because it's like having money is not everything, but not having money is everything, right? It's your entire life. If you don't have money, your entire life is dominated by thinking about how to get money, what to do, and all this kind of stuff, and then just panicking. And I had that in my life for quite a while, where I was really on the fighting tooth and nail from as low as I've been in certain contexts. And it is very important to have a very stable base of clients to make money and all this stuff. But ultimately, it takes you to the level where, I'm not going to crack open some amateur psychology, Maslow's hierarchy of needs stuff, but it takes you to a level where you're comfortable enough to feel like you can positively contribute in other ways that aren't necessarily immediate economic impact on yourself, and that's a great thing. That's what a privilege that is to live that.
Yeah, definitely. I think the saying is that money only solves money problems, and once you've got your money problem solved, that's when you can solve like actual problems, like world problems, and contribute like you're talking as well. Definitely. That got a bit deep, didn't it? That went a bit deeper than than expected.
I think I've messed up here. I've got myself in a real knot in terms of my thinking. Give me 1 second. Can I think my way out of this? This is the question.
I'm going to keep talking to you to distract you. That's my tactic in these. No, you can definitely think. Okay. Wait a second. Yeah. There was one move earlier that I was really worried you were going to make, because it would have screwed me over a bit, but you didn't make it, so it's okay. I don't think it would have been a big deal. It just would have screwed my plans.
Okay. You've got plans now. That makes a difference.
I know one opening on white. So when I play on white, I have a sort of rough idea of how I'm starting the game. and you
Oh,
did
okay.
something that, or you could have done something that would have screwed it, and I would have been like, I don't know what's going on anymore again. Let's just go back to moving stuff, hoping for the best.
I've always found that one of the best ways to
Just like Chanel says, things got really real for a second there.
I feel like one of the ways to get good at chess is just to you first and foremost have to be somebody who's quite good at pattern recognition, right? And in terms of like your Malcolm Gladwell style 10,000 hours, it gets to a point where you just sort of recognize things that the opponent is doing. And the more time you can spend looking at that opponent, it's a big downfall of people who go semi-pro to pro chess, right? It's like the more somebody can analyze your gameplay to that point, the more trouble you're in, because people know your spiel.
Yeah, definitely. And I might have said it to you actually, but if anyone actually knows chess like well and watched every single one of my streams where I play white, I do the exact same moves, the exact same like 7 moves to start the game. So
who's on next week?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So like whoever's on future episodes could just go back and be like, oh, okay, so he's gonna do that. So and they could easily counter me. I'm just purely assuming that my future guests don't watch the show. so that can be a problem if it oh, I didn't even mean to click there. That was a misclick, my bad. Oh well. Yeah, well, I had a question as well. So I always like to try to bring up topics that hopefully will be helpful to some people in the audience as well. And I know that you are in the education space. So is there any sort of tips or any anything that's happening in marketing at the minute in the education space that someone could apply, someone should be aware of? And I think if mainly for people who are like putting together like courses or putting together like their self-education rather than actual educational bodies, is there anything that comes to mind?
Education is a strange space because it functions both as a B2B and a B2C simultaneously, as opposed to those operations being separately. And I say it functions as a B2B and a B2C. It functions as a sort of hybrid between the two mentally. And the reason behind that is because a lot of people, especially when you talk about higher education, they're thinking in a similar mode. There's sort of B2B buyers, right? Because they're spending a lot of money, but also there's like a decision-making unit that goes behind, similar to B2B, there's a decision-making unit that goes behind any given decision within that particular space, right? There's mom and there's dad and there's teachers and there's what are people going to think, what are my peers going to think, and all that kind of stuff. So if you can get your head around like, if you can get your head around like, how do I work in such a way as to appease the decision-making unit, mum and dad and all the people around them, in the same space as I can impress this prospective learner, you can gain a lot from that in terms of how you should be presenting yourself, especially in the online spaces. In terms of any major changes that have happened in the industry, nobody can deny, of course, in any given industry, you could point at any industry and you could say, oh, look, this, I don't know if the live stream will be pulled if I say the word, but we all know what happened from 2020 to 2021, right? So there's been a massive transition in terms of the way people think about education. At the same time, it's becoming increasingly more expensive. And I think that people are resorting to thinking of themselves, even if they're not, as sort of autodidactic individuals, and thinking, is there any space where I can get into where I don't necessarily have to have this degree or whatever? So you almost have an extra layer of, as a salesperson, I guess we'd call it layer of like objection, right? So there's another objection to handle here. You're now in direct competition, even for higher education, with people who can provide things in a remote basis. And so you kind of have to give the learners some kind of reason that they have to be there in person in a lot of spaces where you sort of didn't have to before. It was granted. And it was quite a strange niche to be entirely remote. With School of Marketing, when we started that, we were an entirely remote organization from 2018. So it was like we kind of had the advantage when it was 2020, 2021 kind of time. And I think that the next layer of winners are going to be people who can objection manage the idea that people might go, okay, well, I'm going to self-educate or use these online courses or resources that are available to me, but also be able to provide meaningfully a reason for that person to turn up to a physical location if that's what you're doing, or the opposite, give them a reason not to go to a physical place if you're the alternative to that. A few years ago it was like default you have to be there. A couple of years ago it was default you're not going to be there. And young people particularly, they're very used to remote education. If you're coming up 16, 17, you've just spent the last 3 years being remotely high schooled. You're not going to have any reticence about the idea that you might be remotely lectured on orthodontistry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. How much of enough, because I'm like completely out of education now. I've not been in it. I've not worked in it at all. I've never really sat and contemplated the effect that the big C happened. I'm not sure if you're allowed to say it.
I don't think you should refer to it as that either.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's a very different thing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, the disease that happened in 2020 actually had on not just education, but the young teenagers that are now soon going to have to be going into like the real world in past education as well. So it'd be quite interesting to see what happens there. We've had a question coming from Peter, and I think this is coming in from a point of someone who is creating a course. So which one would you say is better to start? A cheap course for a large audience or a high ticket course for a limited audience? And Peter does video for social media, I guess is the quickest way to explain it. So he helps businesses with their video content for social media.
I suppose a way to think about it would be, what's your existing cachet and sort of ethos in terms of people's knowledge of who you are as a provider, and any social proof that the thing that you're doing is going to be particularly, good or worthy of a lot of money. Generally speaking, I would go, how niche can you feasibly go for, if this is your first shot at this thing, but again, you need to be able to confidently say that your brand or you as an individual have quite the ethos or cachet to be able to sell something that's high ticket. If not, I would probably start with a sort of I would still go with quite high ticket stuff, generally speaking, but I would probably start it off with, you might have to discount some stuff and you might have to cut back some stuff and you might have to, give stuff for people to review and things like that in advance. I don't know if that answers the question immediately, but I would say go for something more niche, with a little bit more high ticket. Really think through who is your intended target audience here, right down to, their motivation. So, demographic, geographic, psychographic, behavioral, and then really just break it down into, okay, well, why this one and not the competitors, and really research those competitors. There are people who provide super, super niche courses at this point. And I keep coming back to orthodontistry as a joke at this point, so I should probably stop that as a meme. But if you look online, there's almost certainly how to digital market your orthodontistry business using Facebook or something like that already exists. So it's like, okay, well, how do you differentiate yourself even within those absolute micro niches? And just completely 100% proving that you are the course deliberately developed for this person can take you a long way if you're just getting started within that space. So I hope that answers the question.
On the niche course thing that you just mentioned, there's a creator called Pat Flynn that some people might have heard of. He's got a big podcast and he's sort of known as the podcast guy now. He has a lot of education on how to create a podcast, but he's got a few books out, and he spoke about how he first made good money, and he did it by putting together a course. So he went to and did architecture at uni, and he put together a course on how to pass a very specific exam in the architecture course. So not even how to pass a course, just how to pass this exam that everyone always fails And he put that course together and sold it and made a good amount of money, even though that is extremely niche. And there's an idea called 1,000 fans, that if you can get 1,000 fans who are willing to give you £100 a year, through however you sell that, it could be £100 product, like £4 £25 products, you're now making 100,000 a year, which is obviously a nice amount for someone to make. And that was his first taste of that, because he didn't sell millions, he didn't become like viral or anything like that. He just sold, I think he sold just over 200 of these courses to students to help them pass for a high ticket amount, and then he was a 6-figure earner, and just like that. And then that's what took him down the education path. But it's an interesting thought process.
I'm always very skeptical. I don't know this individual, by the way. Just so you know, I'm always very skeptical of anybody who does the maths in front of you in that sort of way, where they go, "Listen, man, all you got to do is sell 10 people a £1,000 thing," and they just do the maths in front of you, and you go, "Well, it's easy to make a list and come up with the maths for it. I'm not that stupid, you know." You know. And I'm also very cautious about people who proclaim themselves to be incredibly wealthy, and then the way that they're really incredibly wealthy is they sell the course on how to become incredibly wealthy. I'm not saying that's what this individual is at all.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, I always come from a place of very, very high cynicism, as it were, when I hear stories like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good lesson for people as well, is to always second guess it. That's a very big thing in the marketing education space, where there's like so many people that are selling courses that have never owned an agency. They've never done anything like that. Maybe they make like £5,000 a month from having a few clients, but then they're making like £40,000 a month on selling their courses. So you do have to be cynical. I think he's okay. I don't know. I can't say I know him personally either, but I think he's all right. I'm in a tricky position here again, because
Really, do you think so? Because I just started thinking I'm playing really badly now.
Well, I'm only saying that because it just looks bad, doesn't it? I have no white pieces out on the board except my little horse in the middle there on his own. So things could go bad for me here. Right, so you can take that. So I can't let that happen. So no, I'll do some. So you can take that, which would be bad. So I don't want that to happen. And I could take that, but you take that. So there'd be no point doing that. You've got that. So if I take that, you're taking that. I take that. You take that. Yeah, this isn't good for me. It's basically what I am seeing here. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do this. I don't really have much of a choice.
That's actually the one I didn't want you to do the most.
Yeah, I think that's the only logical one. I still don't think it goes well for me, but at least, yeah. At least it makes you have to think, I guess.
Yeah. Here we go.
Who thought it was a good idea to make a chess live stream talking about what idiot thought that?
I was really looking forward to this morning. Like my partner will attest to it. I was sitting around just going, I can't wait to play this game of chess against Joe.
We could have just done this off stream though, without talking about marketing. Yeah, I guess it would have been less fun though. Okay, so that's what I wanted you to do. You're playing in.
Is it? Is this the trap
now? Yeah, it's not a trap, but in my head, if you'd taken with that, I'd have taken your queen, and you would have taken the queen, and we both would have lost the queen, which I guess is.
You don't want to lose the queen. I've had enough of that in this last year. I miss her, Lizzie.
Oh, yeah. But so what you want me to do is take the bishop, but I'm not going to do that.
I wouldn't start trying to reverse the psychology here, Joe. I don't want you to do anything. You're welcome. You are a man. You're a free operating man.
But this guy's screwed. So what can I do to unscrew you? Not much, really. Let's just trade. That I have to do for now.
Hey, are you a great perk of a job? because you're taking my nights out. No, they're awful. Okay.
That was horrendous. Did you look up chess puns before we got started?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. I should have done a much better job of coming up with trash talk and puns and all kinds of stuff beforehand, shouldn't I?
Right. I'm really not in a good position here. Let's just get some pawns out. Let's do that.
Well, should we just do some chess puns for a bit? I think your bishops are losing faith, and your knights are losing armor, and
all right, that's the end of the stream.
You're like gentry who are fleeing south from Poland, in that you're in Czech. Your king's in Czech.
I really did not know where you was going with that. Let's go with that one.
Yeah. Nights out on the town. I used to think it was a chessboard, but now I guess it's chess boredom, in that I'm bored and you're dumb.
You definitely looked something before this. There's
what
no
have we
way
got?
You just know what these.
I've played a lot of chess, Joe. Honestly, it's the lowest form of wit. I shouldn't do that.
Right. Well, it's going to be that situation again where it's too hard to talk about business and marketing. Just have to play chess now.
Just have to raw chess all the way.
Just play chess now.
Okay.
Honestly, though, just for anyone that is watching this, playing chess and talking about business while having to portray yourself in a public place is blooming hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. I thought so. Just in case anyone cares, maybe no one cares, but
just in case anyone
cares how this idea came about. I've game streams are obviously a huge thing to like this audience over here, and then there's business and entrepreneurship and marketing that like they don't overlap at all. So I was like, is there a way to make them overlap? And I was like, it would have to be a game that everyone understands and that my guest doesn't have to like download anything to play or have any. They just have to know how to play. So I thought of chess because I thought quite a lot of people know how to play it. It's quite competitive, quite fun, and anyone can just jump on this chess.com and play against me. And I thought it was a good idea, but now I've been doing it. It's a terrible idea because you can't think and play chess at the same time. I should have picked Uno. I should have picked anything.
Hey, I'm looking forward to my new live stream where we groom mustaches and talk about chess. No, talk about business. That's my new niche.
Yeah, definitely. That you could make some probably pretty good videos on how to groom a mustache.
Joe, the content is very thin for growing a mustache. It's stop shaving part of your face and keep shaving the rest of it. And then it happens. It happens if you've got the right balance of genetics and stuff. It sort of just happens, doesn't it?
That's true. Do you not oil? Do you not put anything in it?
Joe, do you know this about me? Or are you
you own a beard.
Yes.
I actually completely forgot that when I said that. But.
So in 2018, I decided I wanted to do this master's degree again because I think other people care about it a lot, and I thought that would be fun to show that I do have some academic chops after all. So I decided I was going to do a master's degree. I couldn't figure out, it's really expensive, and I didn't have a particularly well-paying job at the time. And I thought, okay, well, how am I going to do this? And I thought, well, I'm a marketer. So I started a business in mustache wax purely for the purposes of paying for a master's degree. And by the time I got this, completed, the mustache wax business had paid for the entire master's degree.
Is it still going? Is still going, the company, the mustache wax?
Kind of. So in 2021, I want to say at the beginning of the year, I had sold the business to somebody. Not for much, but I'd sold the business because I was like, I don't want to keep making mustache wax forever, kind of thing. It was just a thing to get me to do this properly. And in end of 2021, they sort of said to me, I'll sell it back to you for a sort of similar price. I've sort of been coasting on it for a while. So I bought it back, but I haven't really done much with it since, I'll be honest. So we'll see how it goes. It's sort of I'll be that guy to call it a passive income, but it's not a lot of money. It's just repeat subscriptions and stuff like that. Repeat prescriptions, repeats and stuff like that that are sort of coming back and buying the mustache wax more and more. But I don't want to be the guy who just sells mustache wax. You know, I've got a bit of again, it's not to say there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, I've got a different ambition from that at this point.
Yeah.
So if I come to a point where I'm like, look, I need some money, I'll be the mustache wax guy. But right now, I'm just keeping it afloat, keeping the brand alive. I really like it, by the way. I mean, it's something that I have a lot of fondness for. I'm just looking for a bottle now, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is like a plug now. You have to say,
yeah, I'm going
to
plug
at least
on,
say the brand name.
The future of e-commerce is live stream plugging. I'll tell you that. So this is the Quick Brown Fox by Urban Fox Club, established in 2018. Its logo is 2 foxes' tails coming together to make a little fox, to make a mustache rather. And yeah, like I said, I started it a few years ago. It paid for me to do the master's degree and stuff. So very happy with it. And maybe it will make a comeback one day.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, there you go. Anyone who wants mustache wax, go now.
You can still order, yeah.
This is influencer marketing live.
This is influencer marketing. Like I said beforehand, it's like people wanted to know what's the next big YouTuber boxing. It's marketing nerd chess. This is where it's going to be.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not so sure about that one. Not sure how entertaining it is watching someone get smashed in chess while talking about marketing.
Hey, it could be worse.
Oh, it's your turn. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh dear. What am I going to do here? It's not good, is it? I'll just do that for now.
You're just going to put me in a really good position where you go into check. Yeah, okay. Just going to do that.
I'm not sure if there's... Yeah, I still don't think I can stop your pawn here without losing something. So
I think you're doing a pretty good job. I think you're doing a good job here, man. I'm definitely not playing as well as I was half an hour ago. I should have brought a snack with me, maybe some Sour Patch Kids.
Some energy gels.
Some energy gels. Okay, let's make some choices. Let's make some silly choices. How long do we have left of the stream? I want to make sure that we finish this game before we come to a close.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be up to an hour, so technically 3 minutes. But you know, it's up to you how long you want to go.
Okay, let's make some bad
choices. You do only have 7 minutes left on your clock. I say only 7 minutes, quite a long time, but yeah. Well,
it's bad choice time.
We're gonna have to play some chess now. So strap in, everyone. Gonna be sat in silence. What a great live stream.
Oh man, I've dropped the ball in the last 3. Anybody who knows chess, you know, watching back on this, that's how badly I've done. Right up until this point, things were great. Last 3 or 4 moves, that's where I dropped the ball. Anybody in future who's going to play me, wait until the 58th minute. That's where you can truly get him. He goes down on his knees. He hasn't got the stamina. He's a KO artist. If he doesn't go straight in, take him out, he's done for.
Yeah, it's not looking so good for you now.
No, it's not. The future.
I still don't. It's not over. You still have a better position than me generally, but.
Do you think so?
Well, I think just because you've got all this out the front makes it very difficult for me to move deep. So I've basically just got my queen, and then once my queen has done everything it can do without being lost, I think you're back in control again.
Perhaps.
I don't know. I'm speaking like someone that knows chess really well.
Yeah, no, I'm really on my knees here, Joe. You got a sword to my neck. It's not good. It's not looking good. I would rather be you than me right now.
Would you? I don't think there's a checkmate risk though. I can't see one anyway, because I've literally got the queen out. Like these two are doing nothing. So I was going to say your only option is to go down there, and then I'm going to take your rook. But now I have nothing. So
I have nothing. Everything's been taken from me. That was a very dramatic game of chess. At first, I thought they would just have a nice chat, but then it got really upsetting.
This is another problem with chess as well. It actually can. I haven't had it yet, but I imagine that it can get very competitive.
Oh yeah, it's
Quite
emotions
aggressive.
driven highly on chess. Okay.
So
Ask me a question, Joe. Come on, let's field one more question before we're done.
well, if anyone else has a question, chuck it in as well. But if until that comes in, what? I guess what's the future look like for you?
What's the future?
What's
Joe,
the future?
I'm having an existential crisis.
What's the future look like for you, and what you're doing currently? Are you?
It's hard to know right now. I've got a few contracts in the work that I'm very happy with at this moment in time, and I want to keep going down the road that I'm currently going down for now. And I feel like I'm in the right space. I love doing marketing in the education sector, and sort of helping people to. I suppose I'm quite, like I say, I'm quite sentimental, so I'm quite purpose driven. I'm very sensitive in that way. I'm quite purpose driven. I'm quite like, I really like the idea that not only am I economically helping these institutions and people who are starting up their course, but I also like the idea that I'm helping people to enrich their lives through education, which I don't think is much better cause than that sort of exists. So I really do love what I'm doing. That being said, what does the future hold for it? I simply don't know at this point. And as we said before, I would be lying if I said I hadn't taken into consideration the possibility of taking on new employees and all of this kind of thing. But I don't know if that's right now. It might be a year or two in the future. We'll see. So for now, just going to keep doing what I'm doing, keep my head down, keep focused. Try and think through how to onboard new clients, all that kind of thing. In terms of how I'm onboarding clients, that might be a question you might want to ask.
Go for it.
In terms of how I onboard clients and stuff, I suppose I want to work on my methodology of how I'm actually going about that. Moving into a more marketing space myself at this moment in time, I'm mostly, I say marketing, moving into a more performance marketing space myself at this moment in time, I'm mostly getting leads through networking and working with various different institutions, and sort of it's quite an interconnected network, the education sector. So a lot of people know each other, and that's how I'm generally getting about. But I would like to sort of get more marketing behind what it is that I'm doing as an organization, and get a bit more of brand established as opposed to just the guy with a mustache,
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm going to have to move quickly. I've only got 3 minutes left on my clock.
You've only got 3 minutes left, but
I'm going to play quick and bad. I'm fast and furious.
This is right. What do we do here? I'm so stuck. I genuinely don't have a clue what I'm supposed to do to get out of this mess. Let's go for a little porn.
That's a great move.
What is performance marketing for people who don't know?
I detest the term performance marketing, but it became such an acceptable term that I thought I'm just going to use it because people know what it means. In terms of what performance marketing is, ultimately it's about using individual, generally digital channels in order to create higher ROI. Generally speaking, as a
yeah, I think that a lot of people just think of social media and channels like that as brand awareness, but there are actually ways and methods where you can use it to directly affect your revenue through lead generation, lead nurturing, and stuff like that. So stuff like that is what performance marketing can do. Right, you've got 2 minutes, Luke. So
I'm really panicking now. This is the point that I'm at an atrophy. I've got old. I've just not got it like I used to have. I'm not slick.
Oh god, I was not expecting you to do that move. It does like throw me off. I was like, oh, he's gonna do that next, and you didn't. Oh god. Right, so you're gonna take that.
Am I?
Not much I can do about that.
Am I?
I don't know. Are you? If I take that, you can come up here. So I can't do that. Can't take that. So my queen's pretty much. I guess I could. Let's just do that because why not?
Oh, I like that. That's good.
I can stop asking you questions now, so you can.
That's like a death rattle.
That is not what I thought was going to happen. Okay, I think that's me lost here. I can. The only way I could get out of this is by moving that so that can get out of here. I think because you're just gonna take that, then that. I can't get my queen back down there to support. But then even if I just do that, I'm still now in a position with nothing.
You know, I've used chess.com for years and I've never realized that little arrow function before. Really
yeah, and you can make
Puzzle Rush and all kinds. Like, no idea that happened.
Yeah, you can make it. I think there is a way to. I can't remember how you do it, but yeah, there's. Oh yeah, you can. If you hold control as well, it does some other stuff. Right. So I can do 1, 2, 2, 3. Dead.
1, 2, 3, dead. Yeah.
I actually have. I still don't think it goes well for me, but
I don't know why you did that.
That's all I've got. That is the only option. You can pre-move somehow as well. I'm not actually sure how you do that.
Yeah? I'm learning all kinds of stuff today. This is a big day for me.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure how you... Ow. I feel like I've just prolonged it for no reason. I'm hoping you run out of time. I think that's all I can do now, which is a really sad way of winning.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I didn't even see that. In my head, I was like, okay, well, let's put some pressure on him and we just move that there and then he'll be in check. But okay, I think that's over. How do I don't even know how you resign in that.
Oh, you have to resign?
Yeah, I'm resigning. There's no way I'm winning.
He's 2-0 in the ring, folks.
No way I'm winning that. Well, good game. They were definitely fun games. I have no idea if what we spoke about was understandable to any degree, but we had fun.
That's the nature of this show, my man. I really enjoy it.
Where can people find you if they want to find out more about what you're doing? Follow that mustache. Hey,
if you want to follow that mustache, you can follow me over on LinkedIn. And of course, I'm available for any chats or discussions, particularly if it's in the education sector. I'd love to talk to you about your marketing and your performance marketing. And of course, if you want to talk to me about anything else marketing, you're more than welcome to do so. I would absolutely adore the opportunities to just have a little bit of a chat. And even if you just want to play a game of chess and see if you can do better than Joe can in this particular case, please do get in contact.
Can't believe you're calling me out like that already. Thank you, everyone who tuned in live and watched it after the fact. Next week, I have Martin Wiskin on. So he helps business with use voice. So he is a voice actor. So that should be an interesting discussion as well. But until then, I'll see everyone next week.